50 years ago, we went to the moon. We called it Apollo.
What many people don't know is that Apollo had a twin.
She was a woman named Artemis,
goddess of the moon.
We are returning to the moon.
As a new generation of explorers.
This time, to stay.
And to prepare to achieve humanity's next giant leap of sending the first human missions to Mars.
We believe our course will redefine what is possible.
That we would discover life-saving,
earth-changing science.
And that the challenges ahead will inspire generations.
This is our manifest.
For all who wondered if we could return.
For all who dreamed of pressing beyond.
This is your calling.
We go for all of America.
We go. We go as the Artemis generation.
We go.
Good morning and welcome to the 2019 Administrators Agency Honor Awards program. My name is Amy Grigg. I work in Goddard's Office of Communications and I will be your MC today. Each year during this ceremony, we recognize those who by distinguished service, vision, and ability have made significant impact on NASA's contributions to advancement of U.S. interests. The achievements and contributions of today's honorees have demonstrated a level of excellence that has made a profound or indelible impact on NASA's mission success. It's an important day, a special day for each honoree and their family members here, but it's also a special day for NASA. Before we begin the presentation of awards, please rise if you're able for the presentation of colors by the Armed Forces Color Guard and also the singing of the national anthem by Goddard's very own Linda Glessing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Right shoulder on.
Please be seated. We would like to extend our appreciation to the Armed Forces Color Guard and thank you, Linda, for your outstanding performance. At this time, I would like to invite George Morrow, our Acting Center Director of Goddard Space Flight Center, to the stage for his welcome remarks.
Thank you, Amy. It's so good to see all of you out there and in TV land. Please give Linda Glusing another round of applause for her wonderful rendition of the national anthem. So, distinguished guests, I am George Morrow. As Amy said, I'm the Acting Center Director of Goddard Space Flight Center. It's an honor to welcome you here today and to the 2019 Administrators Agency Honor Awards. We are extremely privileged here at Goddard to be hosting this event on behalf of the agency. So over the past year, we all know that NASA has celebrated several very important and critical anniversaries. In 2018, the agency celebrated the 60-year anniversary, hard to believe. Last month, we, of course, celebrated 50 years since the first moon landing. And just this past May, Goddard celebrated 60 years here in Greenbelt in operation. We opened our gates in 1959, less than a year after the agency began its mission as NASA's first spaceflight center. So let's take a quick look at the last 60 years of Goddard in this video.
Instruments on spacecraft are the extension of our senses. Our aim is to understand the forces of nature that shape man's environment.
With the Goddard telescope in space, we can sample radiations emitted from within our own galaxy. With the OAO, man will go a long way towards solving the mystery of the creation of matter.
Nimbus, research and development craft studying advanced techniques and concepts for meteorological Earth observations.
For years, some of the best engineering brains in the country have been building and improving this communications network to its present state of performance. NASCOM, NASA Communications.
Weather, communications, Earth resources. These will be among the main topics for dialogue in the 1970s.
At Goddard Space Flight Center at Greenbelt, Maryland, the Operations Control Center monitors the spacecraft's flight night and day, watching every element of its operation.
We in the space sciences look from planet Earth to our solar system to the far reaches of the universe.
The Cosmic Background Explorer satellite has been designed to study the cosmic background radiation, which we think is the remnant of the primeval explosion 15 billion years ago. What the COBE will tell us at the end of the mission and after our interpretations are done is how we got here, how the galaxies were formed from whatever was there before.
The Hubble Space Telescope is the most fantastic telescope ever built. It's not just good, it's the best.
Discovery, go for Hubble release.
There's a significant spherical aberration appears to be present in the optics, in the optical telescope.
Right now it's looking very, very good that we've accomplished all we needed to accomplish for the optical correction of HST. And that's good news for astronomy.
Oh! Get it! The trouble with Hubble is over.
We have here a picture taken of the image of a star with the new...
The system is so intertwined.
Now, our ability to assess and predict climate change depends on our ability to model climate and weather change.
One problem we're working on here is the origin of life in other places.
This CME that's just started off here.
We determined the age of the universe is 13.7 billion years old.
What's the next step for the planet-finding quest?
We wanted to go back and explore the universe, and really the natural first step for us is to go back to the moon.
If Mars could ever have supported life, and if it did, what happened to it?
Really want to know where the edge of the solar system is.
what's out there? What's out beyond the solar system?
By being able to make observations of the universe in the highest energy form of light, we get a very different picture.
It's giving us a 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week view of the sun with unprecedented resolution.
It's important to recognize why space matters and why exploring near us on planet Earth is really significant. This is where we will go.
The moment of launch is thrilling and important.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for all these years.
But the great moment, for those who have worked so long and so well, comes after a successful orbit.
There we go.
It's a testament to what humans can do when they're working to do something big, something that's beyond your own self.
Every day I think about this delicate instrumentation in the harsh environment orbiting the Earth and how it's able to keep going all of those years.
Although I'm a scientist, and of course I understand what's going on, it really doesn't prepare you for how beautiful these things are.
I love going into the field. I love making new discoveries.
There's no reason why our future shouldn't be better than our past. So I'm optimistic as long as we get on with it.
And it's because of your intelligence, your experience, your dedication that Goddard has been successful. And I know that's why we're going to be successful in the future.
In these tasks, we at Goddard will penetrate even further into the distances and mysteries of the universe and of Earth.
That video really brings back memories. I started here at Goddard in June of 1983, and so I picked up in that video about the time of, you saw IUE before COBE, so and supported Hubble for many years. So I always get choked up when I watch that video. So for the earliest crewed missions of Project Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo, including the historic Apollo 11 moon landing, Goddard managed the communications between astronauts and their counterparts here on Earth. So fast forward 6 decades, and we have many exciting programs that continue to push exploration forward. The OSIRIS-REx asteroid sample return mission recently reached its target, the asteroid Bennu, and set world records for the tightest orbit around an astronomical body. MAVEN and the Sample Analysis at Mars instrument suite continue to provide valuable data on the red planet. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter recently celebrated 10 years of mapping the moon. The Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite continues to discover new worlds outside of our solar system. In our collaboration with our colleagues at the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab, just up the road in Laurel, Maryland, the Parker Solar Probe has made 2 of the closest passes over the sun and is right now starting its 3rd. And along with APL, Goddard will work on Dragonfly, the latest addition to NASA's new Frontiers portfolio to explore the chemistry of Saturn's moon Titan. The Hubble Space Telescope will soon celebrate 30 years, next April, of discoveries. Hard to believe that a satellite could have been in orbit and producing the data it is after 30 years. The James Webb Space Telescope that you saw in the video, in fact, the end of last week, the optical telescope assembly and instrument module were integrated with the spacecraft and the sun shield element, and we have a completely mechanically integrated JWST observatory now. And of course, that'll be the most powerful telescope ever launched into space, and it'll launch in March of 21. As if all that wasn't enough, NASA will go back to the moon by 24, not just to land, but to stay, as you saw in the first video we saw today, and afterward, we'll send a crewed mission to Mars. Goddard's scientific capabilities and technological prowess will play key roles in these endeavors. More than anything, we will rely on the talented teams and individuals across the agency, many of whom are being honored here today. It's an exciting time to be at Goddard, and it's an exciting time to be at NASA. Our namesake, rocketry pioneer Robert H. Goddard famously said, "It is difficult to say what is impossible For the dream of yesterday is the hope of today and the reality of tomorrow. We try to live that every day at Goddard. All of you here today are a testament to what is possible at NASA. On behalf of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, welcome again to the center and congratulations on your well-deserved awards. To deliver opening remarks for the ceremony, I'll turn it over now to NASA Deputy Associate Administrator Melanie Saunders. Melanie?
Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here at the Goddard Space Flight Center with NASA's very best. Administrator Jim Bridenstine and Deputy Administrator Jim Morhard want to extend their heartfelt congratulations to this year's honorees. They wanted so much to be here, but they are literally on the road out there trying to build support for our return to the moon and on to Mars. But I know they are disappointed they couldn't be here, and we all appreciate your dedication and stellar achievements for this agency and for our nation. I believe it's important that we pause for a moment to really take in why we're gathered together. NASA is bestowing on you its highest honor. You'll hear this several times today, and I know everyone here is aware of this, but the Distinguished Service Medal is awarded to those who displayed distinguished service, ability, or courage, and have personally made a contribution representing substantial progress to the NASA mission. The contribution must be so extraordinary that other forms of recognition would be inadequate. Think about that. So extraordinary that any other form of recognition would be inadequate. You should be very proud of your work and your achievement. Your names join a very impressive list. Names like Gus Grissom, John Glenn, James Webb, George Lowe, Carl Sagan, Jim Lovell, and Chris Scalise, just to name a few. Your families here and at home should also feel very proud. They share in this accomplishment by supporting you, by supporting your other responsibilities while you are working 14-hour days or here for missions that happen at 2 o'clock in the morning. On May 8, 1961, President John F. Kennedy presented Alan Shepard with the agency's second ever Distinguished Service Medal. In accepting the honor, Shepard said it was an award that should really go to everyone who made his historic flight possible. So please, let's just pause to give yourself and the people who helped make today possible for you a round of applause. Thank you. On behalf of NASA, we deeply appreciate the effort that it took to get you here. Now, thank you all. Now it's my distinct honor to introduce the agency's highest-ranking civil servant. He's the former AA for the Space Technology Mission Directorate, the former director of the Langley Research Center, and a distinguished engineer, an outstanding leader, my boss, my partner in crime, and my friend, Steve Jurczyk.
Let's see. Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's see if I can find my remarks. All right, I am there. So thanks a lot, Melly, for that really great introduction. A little bit of an exaggeration in there, a little bit, but I'll take it. It says that I'm supposed to say it's always a pleasure for me to be here at Goddard. In my 31-year career, it's mostly been a pleasure to be here at Goddard. But I will tell you, there have been a couple of meetings and a couple of missions that got a little dicey, but today it is absolutely a pleasure to be here at Goddard for the Honor Award Ceremony, no doubt about it. Some of the most innovative research and science missions are happening right here in Greenbelt, Maryland, a safe distance, I'm not sure everybody would agree, from what we call inside the Beltway and at NASA headquarters. So I'd like to joke, I'm from headquarters, I'm here to help. Sometimes I am, and maybe sometimes you think I'm not. But it is a distinct honor for me to have to be here to present our special guests, NASA's highest awards, the Distinguished Service and the Distinguished Public Service Medals. The administrator really did want to be here today to host today's ceremony, but as Melanie mentioned, Jim is on the road, tirelessly making the case for Artemis, making the case for getting to the moon and onto Mars, and while continuing groundbreaking achievements in science, aeronautics research, and space technology, making the case for why we need people like you working on America's future in space. Earlier, Melanie referred to Alan Shepard earning the agency's second Distinguished Service Medal. Do you know who received the first Distinguished Service Medal? I had no idea. It's not a name that you'd recognize in the annals of space history. It was Gus Crowley, and in 1959, he was awarded the agency's first medal. Gus joined Langley in 1921 after getting his engineering degree from MIT. He had a lot of choices of centers to go to in 21. It was Langley or Langley. That was it, right? He became a head of NACA research, that's the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NASA's predecessor. And there in 1940 helped Hugh Dryden transition the future of aeronautics research from war to peacetime. When NACA became NASA in 1958, Gus became the director of aeronautical research and a new research area known as, overseeing a new research area known as space. My point is, you do not have to be a known or famous name to shape the future of NASA and space and aeronautics. All of you here today have done that, and many of you are still doing that today. And I am just I cannot be more proud of this agency. The world knows the very public face of NASA with our launches and our astronauts and science missions to other planets and our X-planes. However, I often wonder if people realize the full scope of the work that people like you are doing, amazing, incredible, unprecedented things. And it's our great privilege with the Honor Awards to tell your stories and acknowledge your accomplishments. Looking at your achievements, you see what an impressive array of talented people it takes to get our aeronautics research and our space efforts off the ground, literally. Working together as a NASA team and being able to rely on each other is how we're going to get the first woman and the next man on the moon as part of the Artemis project by 2024. An incredibly ambitious goal. I know this NASA team is up for it. We are an investment in America's future, and the investment is going to return dividends in the forms of new technologies and science knowledge that are going to help us get deeper into space and help everyone right here on Earth also. Just in the past year, we've seen impressive advancements in getting Artemis 1 off the ground. We're closer than ever before to returning the launch of American astronauts on American rockets from American soil with our Commercial Crew Program. The construction of Mars 2020 is nearing completion, so it can join Curiosity on the red planet's surface. Their pathfinding work will help pave the way for future human missions to Mars. We found more exoplanets in deep space. It's just amazing. I think everybody inherently knew there were probably planets around other stars, but now we're finding it's amazing how many are out there. We're flying technologies in space to enable even more amazing science missions, advance commercial space activities, and achieve our ultimate goal of human missions to Mars. Our aeronautics program is making it faster and safer for us to fly, and for the first time, we're integrating drones into commercial airspace. All the amazing things we're doing are because of your talent and dedication and tireless efforts to achieve NASA's ambitious goals and missions. But the people we celebrate today didn't get to this stage on their own. Not only are they amazing individuals, they made an impact on someone who took the time to nominate them for this award. I hope going forward, each of you in the audience and watching on TV will consider nominating a colleague for an honor award. We are blessed to be surrounded by excellence. Finally, I want to commend each of our distinguished honorees for being a mentor and role model. I know in my career, I wouldn't have gotten nearly as far as I have, and believe me, I never aspired to be the highest ranking civil servant in the agency, but I'm honored to be that, without awesome mentors, just incredible mentors, and I've tried to pay that forward in my career. I know your peers and everyone you work with can attest to the impact you have on your organizations and our mission every single day. Mentors are incredibly important in our field, and we consistently see the torch pass through knowledge, training, and service to others, and the inspiration that is going to keep our work viable and dynamic for generations to come. So I hope all of you will take pride in that. It's a high calling. I'm sure in 1959, Gus Crowley, as he was being presented NASA's first Distinguished Service Medal, understood the dedication and hard work it took to get there. He wasn't looking for accolades and medals, he simply wanted to make a difference. And there's a selflessness to your dedication as well, to our entire NASA family, that makes me proud to work with each and every one of you every day. Thank you for your service. Thank you to the families who are here and watching across the nation. These honors are richly deserved. And now I'd like to invite Melanie Saunders up so we can get to the good part and hand out the awards.
Thank you, Mr. Jerzyk, Ms. Saunders, and Mr. Morrow for your enthusiasm and leadership for your acknowledgement of the extraordinary people we have supporting the NASA mission across the agency. With that, we'll begin the presentation of the awards. First award is the Distinguished Service Medal. This is NASA's highest form of recognition that is awarded to a government employee whose contributions are so extraordinary that other forms of recognition by NASA would be inadequate. Our first honoree today is Dr. Richard Antcliffe.
Rich, congratulations on your receipt of the Distinguished Service Medal. You are truly deserving of this recognition. Your contributions to NASA span the breadth of amazing things the agency does and includes technical, programmatic, and leadership accomplishments, all of which have had lasting impacts. I can't cover everything in this short video, but the one thing I've truly appreciated and relied on in your role as part of Langley's senior leadership team is never settling for the status quo. You always ask why, or more importantly, why not? You pushed us all to look at problems differently and thus explore different solutions. You epitomize out-of-the-box thinking. Congratulations, thanks, and keep pushing.
Dr. Antcliffe is being recognized for a career of extraordinary contributions, including innovative partnerships, pioneering approaches, and futuristic visioning in support of NASA's mission. The next honoree is Mr. Richard Barney.
Rich Barney was the very first head of Goddard's Flight Instrument Development Branch. He developed multiple new instruments flown on NASA science missions such as COBE, Cassini, Hubble Space Telescope, and LRO. His development of new technology for COBE contributed to the first ever agency Nobel Prize. As an SMA director, he led the revolutionary transformation of SMA with far-reaching impacts across the agency and in industry. The legacy of Rich's impact in living out his mantra that you're only as good as those around you has enabled the agency to reach farther and achieve higher. Congratulations, Rich.
Mr. Barney is being recognized for outstanding leadership for NASA and the country in instrument development, systems engineering, and safety and mission assurance. Our next honoree is Mr. Darren Bedell.
I've known Darren Bedell for over 20 years, and I'm thrilled that he's receiving this honor from NASA. Darren moved to the Kennedy Space Center about 20 years ago when he helped build the program from the ground up. As long as I've known Darren, he has always pushed the boundaries in order to make the program what it is today. His knowledge of launch vehicles is impressive, and he uses that generously with the employees to help them understand the program and how we can help our customers on the spacecraft mission side. Darren, thank you for all of your contributions and congratulations from everyone in the Launch Services program.
Mr. Bedell is being recognized for driving the culture and capabilities that have resulted in unparalleled commercial launch services, enabling over 100 NASA missions to achieve their destinations. The next honoree is Mr. Thomas Bryan.
Tom Bryan is one of this year's recipients of the prestigious NASA Distinguished Service Medal. Tom has genuinely dedicated 40 years of his life to NASA's mission, impacting hundreds of projects in the meantime. Tom's world-class contributions to mission success are only eclipsed by his brilliance in mentoring young engineers. On good days, and there are many of those, Tom can be seen leaving my office saying, and I quote, "I cannot believe you pay me to do what I love to do." Congratulations, Tom.
Mr. Bryan is being recognized for extraordinary and distinguished leadership service in the development of NASA's human spaceflight missions and programs. Our next honoree is Mr. Lane Carter.
Lane Carter is the expert in this agency and throughout the world on spacecraft life support water systems. He has been instrumental in the development and long-term operation of the waste collection and water processing systems on the International Space Station. From the inception of these capabilities to the improvements that will make these systems even more viable for human exploration beyond low Earth orbit, Lane Carter has led the way with technical competence, grace under pressure, and his signature sense of humor. Because a sense of humor when working with human waste processing systems is essential. NASA will send humans to the Moon and Mars with safe and clean drinking water, in large part due to the contributions of Lane Carter. It is an honor to celebrate him and his tremendous contributions to human spaceflight with this distinguished award.
Mr. Carter is being recognized for exceptional technical support of the International Space Station Environment Control and Life Support System as the agency expert in safe spacecraft water systems. The next honoree is Mr. Ricky Sissom.
Over his 30-year career, Ricky Sissom has been one of these guys who's sort of the startup, setup guy of new ideas. He worked initially with NASA headquarters on the intergovernmental agreements and approaches for how Space Station would work with the international partners. Following that, he set up the Payload Operations Office and helped find ways to allow us to operate payloads from across the world. He then moved into contracting and came up with creative ways to move Station from level of effort contracts into performance-based contracts, and then from performance-based contracts into contracts where we allowed the commercial companies to use their approaches and best practices to get work done with minimal government oversight. For all of these reasons, Ricky is very deserving of this Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. Sissom is being recognized for lifelong dedication to the International Space Station program by leading multiple contract recompetes, driving the culture change to using commercial approaches for historically government work. Our next honoree is being recognized posthumously, Mr. Joseph Kazapoli.
The NASA Distinguished Service Medal is awarded to Joe Kuzapali in recognition of his many years of exceptional service to NASA and an outstanding 50-plus year career in aerospace. Mr. Kuzapali passed away in March 2019. He began his career with General Dynamics working on the Atlas rocket, then performed key management roles for several contractors during both the Apollo and Space Shuttle programs. Later, he served as a member of the NASA International Space Station Advisory Committee for over 20 years. In addition, Mr. Kuzapali contributed his vast knowledge to several advisory teams, including the NASA Advisory Council's Task Force on the Shuttle Mir Rendezvous and Docking missions, 1996 to 1998, and the Return to Flight Task Group 2003 to 2005 following the Space Shuttle Columbia accident, and the NASA Advisory Council Exploration Committee 2010 to 2019.
Mrs. Denny Kazupali will be accepting this honor today on behalf of her late husband. Mr. Kazupali, Mr. Kazupali is being recognized for distinguished service in support of NASA's missions past and present, and extraordinary contributions to benefit our nation's aeronautics and space programs for future generations. The next honoree is Mr. Rush Deloche.
Russ, there's not many leaders that embrace the ability to empower and push things downhill like you do for your employees. It's a superpower, it's in your veins, and you just embrace that value of helpfulness and you help others along the way, and that's a supervisory trait that is ultimately deserving of the highest recognition at this agency. The Kennedy Space Center thanks you for your leadership, and we appreciate all that you do for us.
Mr. Deloche is being recognized for distinguished and exemplary service in leading the NASA Kennedy Space Center Safety and Mission Assurance Directorate. Our next honoree is Mr. Dan Dittman.
Throughout this impressive career, Dan's voice wasn't necessarily the loudest in the room, but his words carried weight. He was methodical but creative. He was cautious but not hesitant. He was respectful in asking the hard questions, and he led from within and not above. Although he's now retired, I think Dan continues to serve the NASA mission through those he's mentored and trained. He stands still as an exemplar technical leader. He's the one who can, when faced with an engineering challenge, figure out the right thing to do, the right way to fix it, and the right way to get the team to move forward to doing that. So congratulations, Dan. Well done. This is well deserved.
Mr. Dittman is being recognized for sustained impact over the entire portfolio of NASA Ames Research Center's technical activities through trusted, thorough, and reliable engineering. The next honoree is Dr. Michael Freilich.
It's my great honor to congratulate Mike Freilich for receiving the agency's most prestigious award, the Distinguished Service Medal. Mike has been an earth scientist for over 30 years and has worked with NASA as a university professor, within NASA, JPL, as a researcher, and then here at headquarters. Mike has had a huge impact on earth science overall. There are entire new mission lines that he designed with his team. Mike, with his strength, got these missions on board, and some of them are flying right now on board the space station. Some of the missions that are up there, ISAT-2, Grace Follow-On, have his clear fingerprint on it. His international collaboration is exemplary, and we really are excited to have him honored here by this agency that he so loves.
Dr. Freilich is being recognized for a lifetime of sustained leadership, vision, extraordinary achievements in earth science, and commitment to advancing NASA's mission. Our next honoree is Mr. Terrell Hawkins.
Terrell is truly deserving of the NASA Distinguished Medal. Throughout his years in the government service, he has led organizations through major changes, whether it's been in the Launch Vehicle Processing Directorate at Kennedy Space Center, leading the teams through the final phases of the Space Shuttle program, or helping to organize and managing offices in the Commercial Crew Program. We're working to get astronauts back up to the International Space Station. Throughout this whole journey, he is an advocate for keeping the team morale high, and he's also a great mentor to his fellow colleagues. And he does all this with a great big smile on his face.
Mr. Hawkins is being recognized for exceptional leadership in developing and leading organizational change within NASA. The next honoree is Mr. Andrew Hunter.
I've known Andrew Hunter for most of my NASA career, and he's just been an outstanding leader for the agency, and particularly in the financial management community. He's held leadership positions in the mission directorates and in the Office of Chief Financial Officer, including the Deputy CFO. He acted as the Chief Financial Officer during the transition from the previous administration to this one, and was not only an outstanding leader for the financial community, but also for the agency, getting us through the transition. He is the definition of a servant leader to me, really looking out for his people and the organization and the mission of the organization, and well-deserving of this Distinguished Service Medal. Congratulations, Andrew.
Mr. Hunter is being recognized for a career of outstanding leadership to NASA, distinguished service, and exceptional dedication to the NASA's CFO community and beyond. Our next honoree is Miss Dorsey Jones.
It's truly my honor to nominate Dorsey Jones for the NASA Distinguished Service Medal. Dorsey had a 35-year career here at Stennis in the Human Resources Department. She started in 1983, and she actually processed me in on my first day at NASA in 1991. She took over leadership of the office in 2006, where she masterfully guided the center in all matters human resources until her retirement at the end of 2018. She was a tremendous colleague, a trusted advisor, and a good personal friend to me during my NASA career. I can think of no one more deserving of the NASA Distinguished Service Medal.
Ms. Jones is being recognized for sustained exceptional service and distinguished leadership, contributing to the success of Stennis Space Center and the NASA mission. The next honoree is Miss Vicki Claris.
It is my pleasure to nominate Mrs. Vicki Claris for the NASA Distinguished Service Medal for her exceptional commitment to NASA's mission through her leadership of the NASA Spaceflight Food System. Vicki has been an innovative and influential leader of the NASA Food Lab for over 32 years, contributing to the success of multiple NASA programs by providing a variety of high-quality, healthy foods for our NASA crew members. Throughout her career, Ms. Claris navigated the unknown in space food science and is highly deserving of the NASA Distinguished Service Medal.
Ms. Claris is being recognized for exceptional commitment to NASA's mission and the physical and emotional health of NASA crew members, demonstrated through leadership of the NASA Spaceflight Food System. Our next honoree is Mr. Joe Madden.
Joe Madden has been supporting NASA with his knowledge and skills of project management for over 30 years. He is renowned across the Kennedy Space Center for his leadership abilities. Joe is always willing to accept challenging and high visibility projects. His dedication and positive attitude have improved KSC's posture to support many NASA programs. Joe is an outstanding leader and project manager whose achievements and contributions demonstrate a level of excellence that has made a profound and indelible impact on our Exploration Ground Systems program and on NASA mission success.
Mr. Madden is being recognized for distinguished service, ability, and vision, demonstrating excellence in the Exploration Ground Systems program, making a profound, indelible impact on NASA mission success. The next honoree is Mr. Edward Masroka.
For the last 40 years, Ed Matsuoka has advanced NASA's mission by leading the development of Earth science satellite data processing and distribution services at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. During his remarkable career at NASA, Ed managed a large change in the scale of computing technologies and science data processing. He led teams that developed and operated state-of-the-art satellite data systems for fundamental research from NASA's Earth-observing satellites. Through partnerships with other agencies, he also led efforts to encourage innovative uses of NASA data by decision makers. Over the years, Ed has attracted and mentored many talented scientists and engineers. His lifetime of dedication and service have played a key role in the success of many important NASA missions.
Mr. Masroka is being recognized for a distinguished lifetime of service in leading the development of and managing NASA Earth Science satellite data processing and distribution services at Goddard Space Flight Center. Our next honoree is Mr. Todd May.
Todd May has held leadership positions both on the program side as well as the institutional side of NASA. He was on the International Space Station program negotiating the initial partnership with the Russians, and then held program management positions of increasing responsibility, including being the manager for the SLS program. He then became the deputy center director and center director at Marshall, and I got chance to be a colleague of Todd's during that time. Just a really smart guy, a really great leader, really dedicated to the NASA mission. I really enjoyed working with him over the years and very deserving of this award, the Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. May is being recognized for sustained exceptional service and distinguished leadership, enabling the success of the Marshall Space Flight Center and the NASA mission. The next honoree is Mr. James Ryder.
James Ryder has been an outstanding leader for the agency, both in program leadership positions as well as organizational leadership positions. He's had leadership positions on many human spaceflight programs, including Shuttle Return to Flight, where he led the external tank development, one of the most challenging elements of getting the shuttle back flying again. He was the leader at Marshall Space Flight Center for many years, and then I recruited him to be the deputy administrator in the Space Technology Mission Directorate, and he's now gone on to be the associate administrator for space technology. I was really glad to have Jim on my team. He is an outstanding leader and well-deserving of this Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. Ryder is being recognized for a career of distinguished service and extraordinary management of NASA's space technology programs. Our next honoree is Dr. Robert Scully.
Since joining NASA in 2000, Dr. Bob Scully has a legacy of accomplishments in the protection of spacecraft from lightning and electromagnetic interference for human spaceflight programs. He served as a lead for electromagnetic effects control panels for Shuttle Station and Orion. He led the systematic response to the largest recorded magnitude lightning strike to the launch tower prior to STS-115. His effort led to the development of a transient detection system enabling the launch team to quickly analyze vehicle lightning effects. He devised the spacecraft and launch facility lightning protection requirements for Orion, and he directed the design of the structural and electrical systems accordingly. Dr. Scully was instrumental in developing a chamber configuration to enable the use of the Plumbrook facility for EMI testing of the Orion capsule. These achievements show he has been instrumental to the past and ongoing success of human spaceflight.
Dr. Scully is being recognized for extraordinary and sustained contributions to the protection of aerospace systems from lightning and electromagnetic interference for all human spaceflight programs. The next honoree is Mr. Stephen Sullivan.
So congratulations to Steve Sullivan, the Commercial Crew Program Chief Engineer. Steve is an outstanding engineer that works for us in KSC Engineering. He leads a team of engineers that look at both Commercial Crew Program partners, both SpaceX and Boeing. His job is to make sure that the program, both of the partners are capable of flying. He looks at the launch vehicle, the spacecraft, and the ground systems and makes sure that all that comes together and ensure the program and the program manager that we're safe to fly. So congratulations to Steve Sullivan for the Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. Sullivan is being recognized for outstanding leadership, production, and execution in building NASA's technical role to continue the path to human spaceflight. Our next honoree is Mr. Michael Van Houten.
Mike Van Houten has demonstrated an unparalleled level of excellence as a Launch Control Systems project manager. His dedication, positive attitude, and exceptional project management skills have significantly influenced the progress of the most challenging software project at KSC. Not only has Mike been an inspirational leader of his own team, he continuously reaches out across our program and the entire Space Center to form alliances to successfully resolve issues. It is for all these reasons that Mike is deserving of every honor, including the Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. Van Houten is being recognized for distinguished service to NASA and Kennedy Space Center, demonstrating an unparalleled level of excellence in the Exploration Ground Systems program. Our next honoree is Mr. Brent Weathered.
It has been my privilege to partner with Mr. Brenton Weathered during my 16 years as a senior leader at NASA Langley Research Center. Brent has been an agency and national leader for both flight operations and research for over 25 years. He partnered with me to stand up the Research Services Directorate for flight and simulator operations at Langley. A fixture in Research Directorate management roles for 17 years, he is now the Chief Engineer for Intelligent Flight Systems and concurrently leads the Langley Aviation and Safety Review Board, approving all Langley aircraft and UAS operations for national and international flight activities, and setting precedent for other NASA centers. Generations of air travelers will benefit from Brent's contributions.
Mr. Weathered is being recognized for leadership of flight operations and research at NASA Langley on behalf of agency, national, and international partners. Our final honoree in this category is Terrence Wilcutt.
After a distinguished Marine Corps career, Terry came to NASA as an astronaut candidate and became an astronaut in 1991. He flew 4 space shuttle missions, 2 as commander, and then assumed leadership roles in the astronaut corps, as well as in organizational and program safety and mission assurance, both at the Johnson Space Center and at headquarters, ultimately becoming the head of safety mission assurance for the agency. The success of our human spaceflight, robotic, aircraft research missions, and others are in large part due to Terry's leadership. I've really come to admire his calm and steady approach to leadership and his ability to lead teams in moving forward. Congratulations, Terry, on receiving the NASA Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. Wilcutt is being recognized for distinguished support and outstanding leadership of NASA's safety and mission assurance activities and indelible contributions to the Space Shuttle program. Our second and final presentation is the Distinguished Public Service Medal. This is NASA's highest form of recognition that is awarded to a non-government employee whose contributions are so extraordinary that other forms of recognition by NASA would be inadequate. Our first honoree is being recognized posthumously, Mr. Alauddin Banji.
Al Banji has dedicated more than 40 years of his life to NASA and JPL and has led the Deep Space Network team and activities. He has challenged his people to be creative and innovative and pursue efficiency and cost reduction while improving the experience of our deep space missions. He has implemented the Follow the Sun initiative and as well as implemented the integration of optical capability into the DSN and many other efficiency initiatives that resulted in a cost saving of more than 40%. Because of Al, NASA has been able to go deeper and more reliably into space. Al, thank you for all of your contribution. Your legacy will live forever, propagating throughout the universe. Godspeed, my friend.
Mrs. Shanice Banji, along with their children, Dr. Yassine Banji, Cherie Banji, will be accepting this honor today. And Mr. Banji is being recognized for transformational advance in the Deep Space Network, achieving dramatic cost efficiencies and critical new capabilities with exceptionally high reliability. The next honoree is Dr. Daniel Coulter.
Dr. Daniel Coulter led the team that demonstrated the technologies and developed the flight telescope for the Spitzer Great Observatory. His team developed the technique of cryo-null figuring to meet surface accuracy requirements of the primary mirror at its operating temperature, a technique implemented on Spitzer and James Webb. Dr. Coulter also led development of advanced technologies for the detection of gravitational waves from space and detecting and characterizing Earth-like planets. Dr. Coulter has been personally committed to forming lasting bonds between the Goddard and JPL astrophysics communities. Dan has demonstrated the highest ideals of public service, providing technical, institutional, and programmatic leadership to NASA and JPL.
Dr. Coulter is being recognized for distinguished service in the development of cryogenic and large telescope systems for NASA, including wavefront sensing and control for coronagraphy and interferometry. Our next honoree is Mr. Robert Ergun.
Professor Robert Ergun of the University of Colorado Boulder is a world leader in the measurement of electric fields in space. Over his distinguished career, he has led or played a central role in instruments on many NASA missions, including FAST, THEMIS, Venelem probes, MAVEN, MMS, and most recently Parker Solar Probe. His work on the FAST mission was key for defining our current understanding of particle acceleration in Earth's aurora. On Parker Solar Probe, his insight into spacecraft charging effects was critical in moving the electric field antennas to the front of the spacecraft, enabling the closest measurements ever to the Sun. He is highly deserving to receive the NASA Distinguished Public Service Medal.
Unfortunately, Mr. Ergun had a last-minute conflict and is not able to join us today. Mr. Ergun is being recognized for distinguished service to NASA in designing and building innovative electric field instrumentation for flight missions. The next honoree is Mr. Michael Graybill.
So we want to nominate Mike Graybill for the Distinguished Public Service Award for all the tremendous help that he's been supporting the Commercial Crew Program Safety and Mission Assurance Office. He helped us develop a brand new way of doing surveillance of flight hardware production, and his work has actually helped us to make improvements to flight hardware production processes. So we want to thank Mike for all of his helpfulness and his building great relationships with the contractors, and his work has actually helped Commercial Crew program be better and safer. So thank you very much, Mike.
Mr. Graybill is being recognized for identification of improvements that will reduce flight hardware manufacturing issues and increase crew safety for the Commercial Crew program. Our next honoree is Dr. Thomas Hausman.
For me personally, one of Tom's most unique gifts is his ability to craft a well-integrated technical story. Long before the story is presented, Tom will do the legwork and the research needed to understand the physics of the problem. From there, he moves on, understands the sensitivities and nuances that make the problem unique, and then he ties all that together in a well-integrated, crafted story that speaks to audience members of all ranks. It's an amazing skill that he has, and I've seen him do it many times throughout the 8 years that he's worked on SLS. So Tom, we're proud of you today, and you're well deserving of this award.
Dr. Hausman is being recognized for visionary leadership, quality mentorship, proactive influence, and exceptional technical problem solving, benefiting the integrated vehicle loads community. The next honoree is Dr. Miguel Larson.
Dr. Larson is deserving of this very distinguished award because he's basically the world's expert in upper atmosphere neutral wind measurements. Whether it's studying the aurora in the northern latitudes or studying the electrodynamics on the equator, the neutral wind measurements become such an important part of the investigations that we do. He's basically the world's expert in this, and it's very difficult to measure the winds at that altitude. He's launched over 100 sounding rockets where he's been the primary investigator or a co-investigator, and I think that volume of work speaks for itself. So we congratulate Dr. Larson on such a prestigious award and thank him for the service to NASA and to the country.
Dr. Larson is being recognized for pioneering research to measure vertical profiles of the Earth's upper atmospheric winds and leading over 100 NASA sounding rockets during 40 years of research. Our next honoree is Dr. Charles Lawrence.
Dr. Charles Lawrence is an internationally renowned astronomer whose scientific and programmatic leadership and technological foresight has significantly shaped the way we view the universe. In the 90s, Charles conceived of and received funding for the Cryogenic Hemp Optimization Program to develop transistors and amplifiers for astronomy that ultimately led to their use in great observatories all over the world, as well as on the joint ESA-NASA Herschel and Planck missions. On Spitzer, Dr. Lawrence developed a novel method for liquid helium conservation that extended the cold mission lifetime by 20%. On Planck, Dr. Lawrence was instrumental in integrating the science teams, delivering precise determinations of the content and structure of the universe. In 2018, the Planck team received the prestigious Gruber Prize for Cosmology.
Dr. Lawrence is being recognized for distinguished leadership and service to NASA and the nation in the pursuit of advancement of the fields of astrophysics and cosmology. The next honoree is Mr. Edward Sikora.
Ed has been a force at the Cryoprop console for years. I have come to count on his calm, confident voice as we work through the critical steps of Launch Countdown. His service to America's space program has spanned decades and programs. Whether he's writing software for the Launch Control Center, developing requirements, test procedures, or figuring out the best way to test and save flight hardware, he sets the standard for how this is done. I couldn't be more proud to see Ed get this recognition, the Distinguished Public Service Medal. Congratulations and well done, CPROP.
Mr. Sikora is being recognized for unprecedented engine cryogenic propulsion technical leadership and vision that have made a profound impact on future flight safety and mission success. Our next honoree is Mr. Robert Sinclair.
Mr. Rob Sinclair deserves the Distinguished Public Service Medal in recognition of his work across all current United States programs to design parachute systems to safely return our explorers. He has been the lead engineer of the capsule parachute landing systems for the NASA Orion program, both Commercial Crew Program partners, and the Blue Origin New Glenn program. Being the lead designer for 4 human-rated parachute systems simultaneously is an unprecedented accomplishment, and his mark on human spaceflight is indelible.
Having worked with Rob almost daily for over a decade, I see his biggest influence being in the future of parachutes in human spaceflight. His passion for parachutes is contagious. Rob really embodies the definition of distinguished public service. Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Mr. Sinclair is being recognized for leadership in the design and development of the parachute systems that will be used to land every United States human spacecraft for the next generation of space travel. The final honoree is Dr. Jacob Van Ziel.
I've had the pleasure of working with Jacob Van Ziel for many years, and I'm here to tell you about a few of his many accomplishments. He received his doctorate in electrical engineering from Caltech in 1986 and started as an engineer at JPL at the same time. His career began working on Earth-based synthetic aperture radars and on space-based radars. He started his tenure on the JPL Executive Council in 2002 and became the Director for Astronomy and Physics in 2005. While he was the Associate Director, he started 2 visionary efforts. The first were the Marco CubeSats. The second is the Mars helicopter, which will fly on the Mars 2020 mission. With so many achievements, it should be clear to all that Jacob made tremendous contributions to the work of JPL over the course of his 33 years here. He is truly most deserving of this prestigious award, and I am honored to have the privilege of nominating him. Thank you.
Dr. Van Ziel is being recognized for distinguished service and leadership over a long career contributing to over 20 successful NASA missions and instruments. This concludes the presentation of the awards, but at this time we would like to take a moment to recognize those honorees who could not join us today. Mr. Dwayne Brown.
Dwayne Brown receives NASA's Distinguished Service Medal, is a headline written by the stars in the night sky long ago. What a career of firsts Dwayne has had. From his first press conference on TDRS to every major space shuttle announcement. Return to flight, John Glenn's STS-95 mission, Mae Jemison's flight, Eileen Collins is the first female shuttle commander. Dwayne was there, behind the podium, commanding the news. He became the trusted face and voice of the program. When he was assigned to science 15 years ago, he continued this level of excellence. Voyager, Hubble, Juno, all things Mars, including the Curiosity landing, New Horizons of Pluto, and in 2017 leading the 4-hour live showcase of the total solar eclipse. Dwayne is not only the face and the voice, but the heart and soul of science. You coined the phrase, science never sleeps. And in fact, you and your team produce over 85% of the agency's news. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor.
Mr. Brown is being recognized for sustained and dedicated commitment to bringing NASA's astonishing achievements to the news media and general public for the past 39 years. Mr. Edward Fine.
Why is Ed Fine deserving of this distinguished honor? For over 50 years, Ed's accomplishments are many, varied, and span multiple human spaceflight programs. As JSC's Intellectual Property Counsel, Ed patented 215 technologies from early Mercury spacecraft to the International Space Station. Many of these technologies have made their way to Earth. Today, Ed oversees significant changes in how NASA conducts technology acquisitions in the new space era. Ed has been a significant force multiplier for transferring NASA human spaceflight technologies into the commercial sector, thereby creating jobs as well as generally benefiting humanity. Congratulations, Ed, and thank you for your service.
Mr. Fine is being recognized for distinguished service and personal impact, widely recognized as important contributions to NASA's human spaceflight and technology transfer missions. Mr. Michael Good.
Mike Good has demonstrated exceptional leadership and commitment to excellence during his 34-year career. He came to NASA as a space shuttle astronaut in 2000. He has performed 4 critical spacewalks totaling almost 30 hours in space. During the Hubble servicing mission, he repaired an instrument that was like doing brain surgery in space. He came to the Commercial Crew Program in 2013 in order to utilize his experience. Since 2014, Mike has led a joint test team, a concept that he created to lay out and test the crew cockpits and displays on these new vehicles. This leadership role has been tremendously challenging since NASA does not own the spacecraft or operations under the Commercial Crew model. Mike is a talented leader who is gracious and humble. He has made a lasting impact on our program. Therefore, it is very fitting that Mike Good be awarded the NASA Distinguished Service Medal. Mike, when we fly our crews very soon, please know that you were a huge contributor to making it happen.
Mr. Good is being recognized for exceptional vision, technical leadership, and dedication advancing the mission of NASA and the Commercial Crew Program. Mr. William Hicks.
Bill Hicks served NASA for 37 years, the last 6 of which he was the CFO at Marshall. He was devoted to supporting NASA's mission, and he is known as a high-integrity leader with unwavering dedication to the job put before him. Bill helped guide the management of center resources, and our team relied heavily on his advice during times of great change. And all the while, he assured that Marshall achieved or surpassed financial metrics. Bill Hicks created a lasting legacy for Marshall and the agency, and he is most deserving of the honor of the Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. Hicks is being recognized for providing outstanding service, improvement, and leadership to the program planning and control competency for the agency and providing a profound impact on NASA's mission success. Mr. William Neil Myers.
I'm so pleased today to say a few words about our awardee, Mr. Neil Myers. Neil has spent 51 years at NASA. Yes, 51 years, doing designs for spaceflight hardware. His innovative approach and creativity and his belief that a design needs to be aesthetically pleasing has led to 27 patents and Neil being named Inventor of the Year 3 times. Neil's selfless dedication, his pursuit of excellence, and his humble approach make him most deserving of this distinguished award.
Mr. Myers is being recognized for outstanding and sustained high performance, dedication, and service to the mission of NASA through technical and creative contributions. Mr. Melvin Scruggs.
Melvin Scruggs has been a mainstay of center operations. As the manager of the Business Management Office for over 11 years, he's played a critical role in spearheading numerous center ops initiatives. One of the most important initiatives was a requirement to reduce center operations costs by 20% over 9 years. He also was instrumental in helping with shuttle transition efforts for center ops requirements, and then most recently in some of our energy savings cost initiatives. Melvin is most highly deserving of this Distinguished Service Medal.
Mr. Scruggs is being recognized for distinguished service that has profoundly impacted the effectiveness of NASA with other federal agencies, ensuring mission success for critical agency programs. Dr. Jaiwan Shin.
Jaiwan Shin and I got to know each other as participants in the Senior Executive Service Career Development Program in the early 2000s. And since then, Jay has gone on to multiple leadership positions, both at the Glenn Research Center and here at headquarters in aeronautics research. He was the deputy AA and then the associate administrator for aeronautics research, and did an amazing job transforming the way we do research and technology development in support of aviation for the nation. He led the development of numerous technologies that have improved the performance of aircraft, reduced the environmental impact of aviation, as well as improved the safety and efficiency of the airspace system. He has been an amazing leader for ARMD and the agency, and congratulations, Jay, on receiving the Distinguished Service Medal.
Dr. Shin is being recognized for distinguished service, extraordinary contributions, and outstanding leadership, managing NASA's aeronautics research portfolio and guiding its strategic direction. Dr. Patrick Simpkins.
Dr. Pat Simpkins is most deserving of NASA's Distinguished Service Medal. Pat had an outstanding 34-year career at NASA in a number of senior leadership positions. But for me, the thing that really stands out was the work that he did as the Director of Engineering here at KSC. He helped us build our multi-user spaceport, built a cohesive engineering team, bringing folks together to help make that happen. And for that, I'm always going to be grateful to Pat's hard work. Thanks, Pat.
Dr. Simpkins is being recognized for sustained and distinguished service, ability, and vision, demonstrating a level of excellence that has made a profound and indelible impact on NASA mission success. Dr. Eric Thaxton.
Eric, on behalf of the entire senior management team here at Kennedy Space Center, I would like to congratulate you on your earning one of NASA's most prestigious awards, the Distinguished Service Medal. You know, when I think about Eric, the first thing that comes to mind is Eric truly is an engineer's engineer. He has a very strong academic background and a constant desire to learn. And he has the unique ability to craft practical solutions from the textbook and latest scholarly research to solve some of the most complex challenges and issues that are facing NASA's programs and projects. Eric, we're very proud of you, and I want to personally thank you for all that you do. It's a sincere honor and pleasure to work with you. Congratulations.
Dr. Thaxton is being recognized for significant contributions to NASA's mission as a mentor, teacher, and protector of taxpayer dollars. On behalf of the agency, we thank each of the extraordinary honorees for their distinguished service, and we wish you continued success in all of your future endeavors. We would also like to extend our special appreciation to Mr. Jerzyk, Ms. Saunders, Mr. Morrow, Ms. Glessing, the Armed Forces Color Guard, the ceremony staff and volunteers, and our host, Goddard Space Flight Center, for all of your contributions to making today's ceremony a success. At NASA, our accomplishments are built on the legacy of those who have come before us. We thank all of you for joining us today, specifically today's honorees, for giving us a strong foundation to continue making the impossible possible as the next generation of explorers reach for new heights and we go forward to the moon in 2024. Sorry, our production. Good?
NASA continues to go further, increase our scientific knowledge faster, and improve the human condition. We can do this because we have the world's finest workforce. The Agency Honor Awards is a special occasion to recognize those whose dedicated work has propelled NASA higher than ever before. Sir Isaac Newton, one of the most influential scientists in history, once said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants." We at NASA know this is also true of the men and women we honor here today. Their work has helped our agency take gigantic leaps forward in scientific and technological advancement for the benefit of all of humanity. Their exemplary courage in the face of difficulty and their sustained perseverance to find solutions proves to all of us that there is no problem too great or mission too difficult. As we proudly recognize the honorees with NASA's highest awards, I hope we will all strive to emulate their career excellence. I extend my personal congratulations to each of the honorees and offer my heartfelt gratitude for the legacy you have built. Your hard work empowers and inspires us to rise up to meet the challenges of today. NASA is a better place because of who you are and what you do every day. Thank you for your service.
And thank you to all the honorees for coming today. This concludes the awards presentation. Please let's give one more round of applause to our honorees.